revenue for the business, it was extremely stressful for me doing it with 7 cans because I had to work a lot longer hours. I had to.
But there's guys that took the cheap, easy to get in setup and have built very successful businesses on that.
There's so many people who are getting ready to get ready that other people are just passing them up because they're just sitting there getting ready to get ready. I gotta wait till my business cards are done. I gotta wait till my flyers are done. I want to build this website. My logo guy is taking a long time doing the logo. I hear it all the time. It's like, what are you doing? What's going on, YouTube? This is Josh over here at American AF Dumpster Rentals. We are in a new HQ podcast room. So this is literally, we are
The first podcast,
first group, first everything right here. So,
Room's nice too.
thank you. A little
Very
cold
nice.
though. A little chilly. We don't have the heat set up yet.
all right.
But
It's a little
Coming from the
chilly.
guy that likes the cold, though.
I love it though.
And
I'm
he's
here.
the one
I'm
in a
comfortable
hoodie.
with a sweater. We're good. Anyway, so we are here with. I'm gonna have them introduce themselves, and this is gonna be like, well, we'll get to that. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'll start right to my right.
All right, so I'm Brian Ray. I own North Texas Waste Removal. Been in business about almost 2 years now. It's been January of 23 when I started my business. This last year was a great year for me. First year I was like a fish out of water, but this year's been a great year for me, and looking forward to the channel and doing these roundtables.
And I'm Dylan Dunn with Rhino Solutions, about 100 miles northwest of here, outside of DFW. I'm actually the new guy. Started April of 2023, so I'm the newest business. Talked to Josh a lot. He guided me, and I kind of dove in hard and heavy. First year, definitely, I agree with Brian, being lost, figuring it out. This year was a little more put together, but definitely learned a lot from these guys and our monthly luncheons, and I talk to these guys pretty regular on the phone, and so I think that's what led to this idea was the information we all shared together and learned from each other, and so we'll see where it goes.
Cool. Let's talk about that a little bit. So we are part of a group of guys. I mean, I wouldn't even call ourselves. It's definitely not an organization. It's not a. It's not a club. It's none of that stuff. It's more just like a networking group. We get together once a month. We have a group text message chat that I have on silent because sometimes it gets blown up like crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing though. But anyways, so yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. How? I don't even remember how. I think I put it out on the channel. I think somebody, probably you, kept talking about it. Yeah. And then we just put it on the Facebook group, like, hey, who wants to join or who wants to come and just have lunch, right?
Yep.
And you guys are both like OG
Yep.
day one, week one, I think, right?
Because we had Ryan and his wife came to the first one, and Walter. I don't remember if Omar was at the first one.
No, he wasn't. He came a little bit
So
afterwards.
it was the three of us, Ryan and Walter.
Walter, I
Yep.
believe.
Oh, at the
first
at the
one.
taco place in
place, yep.
Waxahachie. Yep, that's right. So,
Dang, that
but
was
yeah,
January, wasn't it? January, February. So we're at almost a year now.
was it that long ago?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
It was cold
Nice.
out. I remember that.
Nice. Let's talk about that a little bit. So, how do you like the group, or what benefits do you get out of the group, and where would you like to see it go? I guess in this coming year.
It's been really great. I say for me personally, and I've shared with y'all, one of the biggest things for me is when it's good, I love everybody else's victories. I mean, some of the new guys that started business this year, and they're like, hey, I'm sold out. Like, I love sharing that. It's easy for us to get excited because we've been there. We understand how good that feels. When business is tough and I'm stressed, I'm like, man, I ought to just sell everything. I just need a normal job again. I'm not running 16-hour days and losing sleep at night. And then everybody communicates that too, and the struggles we have, and work slow, or dealing with stuff getting impounded, trucks breaking down. Kind of reminds you you're not the only one going through this. You're not the only one having a bad day, or business is struggling, or we get to share our victories and our struggles together. And I think the one thing that makes it even more valuable is we do feed each other work. If we got customers in the area, I love being able to refer my customers to somebody I trust that's going to give them the same service, same pricing, everything that I would. I could just tell them, hey, look up somebody in Dallas that's too far for me. Or I say, hey, I got a few guys over there that I know aren't going to make me look bad for referring them. I know they're going to be taken care of. And then when we've had truck problems. You've had them. Dustin's had them. I've had them. You were going to save me after one of the lunches. When your truck went down, Chris was able to help you. And, I mean, as a small business, most of us run one truck. I have a couple now, but if you don't have a backup truck and it goes in the shop even 2 or 3 days, like, you're not going to catch up from that. You're going to lose work. And then on top of paying for the repairs, you also lost income too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, having guys that you can trust to count you and will go out of their way to help you out because they want to see you succeed just as much as you want to succeed. So I think that's, I mean, on top of our sharing our information and helping each other out, I think it's a lot more personal. We all want to see everybody else do good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's honestly, it's the same for me. A lot of it's really good knowing that I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one having down times. And when you have those, you start to really kind of question yourself on, am I doing things right? Am I working hard enough? Am I putting the time into the places that I need to put them into to make my business successful? And so when you start having the down times like I did 2 or 3 weeks ago, and start questioning yourself, when I could pick up the phone and say, hey, this is what's going on. And even if someone else in the group isn't experiencing what I am, just having someone in the group that I could call and talk to about that understands where I am. Mm-hmm. And it's been just a very valuable once a month meeting for me, just to kind of just reassure me, if nothing else, because honestly, none of us have been doing this a really long time. And so when I think you've done a lot of businesses in the past, this is my first company that I've ever owned. And I've explained on YouTube before, when I started this, I didn't even know what SEO was. I had no idea. And so it's been a big learning curve for me. And so when that doubt comes up, it's nice to have someone I can call and say, hey, I've been there. I know what you're going through. Just keep going and it will level out.
At what point, though, are we sharing too much, right? Like, at what point do you guys feel that at all? Like, we're actually kind of going after each other's customers, or is there any kind of feel like that in the group?
I don't get that in our group at all. And I know, like, some guys in our group, I haven't had so much concern, but there's a few other companies I do talk to that don't come to our meetings yet, trying to get them there. But a lot of times for that comfort level, if, say, they send me work, I re-rent and have them deal with the customer because I don't want them to ever think I'm trying to poach their customers. I'm helping them out, or so I'm like, you deal with the customer. I mean, I did one for one of our other local guys. You know, Nick. He had one customer I ran 34 40-yard dumpsters for in a matter of 3 weeks. And whenever I dropped the first one off, like, do we call you when it's full? I'm like, nope, run it through Nick. Everything's good through Nick. I never even gave him my phone number because I didn't want him to ever be worried I was going to take his work or whatever. So I want to make sure I don't step on anybody's toes. I helped him cover them, and he's able to mark my bill up a little bit, make some money from being the middleman. But I think with our guys, everybody I've talked to, maybe not so much in our group setting, but I mean, you two and Dustin, I talked to y'all three the most. Well, and Andy, I talked to Andy quite a bit. But I don't have a problem like sharing real numbers or what I experience, what I do, just because I trust y'all, I guess. I wouldn't put this stuff on Facebook or be as transparent online as I am with you guys. But I don't feel that I share too much or even techniques because, well, for me, I'm kind of the only one up in my area. I got Andy's not too far.
Nobody wants to go to your area.
Right.
No,
So even if I tell you who my...
it's all yours.
But even if I tell you my customers or my system or who I've talked to, like, it doesn't affect anybody else really. Now, y'all are all a little bit closer down this way, but...
Yeah, we overlap a lot. I mean,
right.
But to answer your question is, not one time have I ever hesitated on sharing anything or thought it was too much. I mean, you run into my area quite a bit. I mean, the Kaufman area where my office is. And actually, to be honest with you, when you were in Crandall and had those dumpsters on there on the highway, the first time I drove by and saw those, it wasn't, man, that scumbag is over here in my area taking my business. It was the first thought that came through my mind was, man, I'm glad he got business out here. I mean, it's just going to help his business. So I think most of us are like that in our group. Is we're not competition. We're there to help each other and build each other up and help each other grow their business. And I don't get that feeling at all.
Yeah, it's not really like the video wasn't more, or this podcast wasn't more about, I guess, the group, but I mean, we share that in common. We have that in common, and I think that a lot of people could benefit with having a group like this in their area. Like nobody's. I mean, there's no financial gain at all, other than the financial gain that we get, like just from learning from other people's experiences and like putting stuff back and forth. But I think that everybody in their own areas has to find some sort of support team or other business owners, whether it be Chamber of Commerce or your local BNI, or you put together your own. But anyways, let's talk. So we're at the end of the year. He missed my video, of course. Yeah, obviously he didn't see it, because he doesn't follow my channel. He probably unsubscribed.
Yes, I do.
But
I do it from the gym.
I just haven't joined.
We did.
I've subscribed.
You didn't join. No, you don't have to join. I did a live last week, and I was talking about your video. And I shouted it out. I told everybody to go over there and hopefully subscribe. But you did have a good video talking about your business plan, and it's the perfect time. Matter of fact, just like you said, and I agree as well. We should look at next year, probably a month or two ago, really. You know what I'm saying? We're a little late. But you brought up some valid points. And while I've never been the guy to literally write down a plan on paper, I've never been the guy I always fear that if I write down my goals, I will fail at them. So sometimes I say, well, it's easier to not write them down so that I don't fail and just kind of see where life takes me. And that's the way I've always done my life. But I also feel that's a cop out, right? That's almost like a weak man's mentality. So anyways,
going back. Shot you don't take. So
say again?
You miss every shot you don't take.
100%.
Aim for the moon, land upon the stars.
Right.
Kind of that deal. Yeah, you're right. Even if we fall short, at least you're kind of focused on a goal. Right.
I still focus. Don't get me wrong. Like I feel like I go at it 100%. But there's not that sometimes there's not that pressure to make a certain revenue dollar, or there's not that pressure to make a certain goal. And if you fall short, that's okay. I guess either way, if you fall short, that's okay. Just try better or try harder next year, right? Or whatever. But your video, again, we'll go back to that, really talks about looking at next year, really setting up goals, really writing it down. And I think that's really important for a lot of people watching, especially if they're just starting out. To set up. So how do you? I think you set up a revenue goal. You set up a. What other goals did you set up?
It had to do with software and things like that. But the goals I set last year will probably be a little bit different this year. And you always hear the SMART method as far as setting up goals, and part of that SMART method is making your goals realistic. And I say bullcrap on that. You want to make your goals and the things that you want to achieve in your business unrealistic. So let's say that I think next year that I did 160 this year. Next year, let's just say I want to do 225. That's a realistic goal for me as far as the revenue part of my business plan. Well, I'm not putting 225. I'm putting 275 down on there. I want something that's really going to motivate me, that's going to make me dig deep, and for me to have an unrealistic mindset of where I want my business to be next year, 3 years from now, and 5 years from now. And doing that, if I don't hit 275, but I hit 250, that's 25,000 more than what I would have set if I made a realistic
conservative goal. Right?
Yeah, conservative goal. So that's kind of where I come from. And that's with anything. That's with increasing my inventory. The problem with that is if you increase it too fast, then you're sitting on dumpsters and you're sitting on inventory that's not being utilized. And so that part to me needs to be more realistic. But as far as where I want my business to be as a whole, I want those unrealistic goals there to really motivate me, to make me dig deep and push me.
So to touch on that real quick, so that's where you and I differed this year.
Yes.
Because I came into 2024 with 8 cans.
Yes.
So about 12 more this year.
In 2024.
Yeah. Because it was that deal, like you said, you're going to optimize. And I know Clayton kind of planted that seed. Great. that you decided you were going to optimize instead of buy more because you were planning to grow in 2024, and then backed off and said, let's optimize these 7.
Yes.
I remember your video talking about that. I went the other way. As soon as I was sold out and turned down one job, I panicked and I ordered dumpsters. And I mean, I ordered 4 of them, 230s, 240s. I picked them all 4 up from Keystone and took them straight to job sites. I've got one that I picked up in June that still has not come to the yard since I picked it up in June from Keystone. But I figured out if I missed one job, I needed more dumpsters. And when I ordered this last round, I missed 7 jobs in 7 days because I didn't have dumpsters. And like Josh knows, getting in the 30s and 40s, that job isn't usually one dumpster. That one job is usually 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. So in 1 week, I missed maybe 20 dumpsters. Heck, that I dang near paid for them.
Yes.
And so now I've got quite a few sitting in the yard, a lot more than I'm comfortable having.
Me too.
But during the summer, because I was running 14, I think, for the majority of summer. And I stayed sold out for 3 months. Mm-hmm. If I would have had more, I would have sold more. And so that's kind of how I balanced the idea on buying more, where you wanted to make sure you stayed consistent all year, which I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I just wanted to share that different mindset. You're like, I'm going to make the best of these all year. And I'm like, if I miss one job, I'm buying more. And now, granted, I had some of them, especially the ones I just got last month, some of those haven't even gone out on jobs yet.
But see, that's where business is so funny, because there's absolutely no right or wrong answer.
Right,
There's
exactly.
there's not a blueprint written out. There's no instruction manual that says like, hey, this is exactly what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, because what you do may not work for him, and what he does may not work for me, and what I do is not going to work for either one of you guys. Right. Like, we're all on our own path and on our own journey. And that's why it's so dangerous in my eyes to copy somebody else's journey, right? Because there's so many different circumstances and so many different things that are involved in making in forming that person's journey or that person's route on growing their business. Excuse me. That's also why it's really important not to be like to speak in absolutes, right? That's something I've tried never to do on this channel and anywhere, because again, what works for me is probably not going to work for you. You're running 30s and 40s, right? Your turnaround time is going to be, I guarantee you, is probably 2 times or 3 times longer than Brian's here. You know, like your not turnaround time, your length of rental, right, is probably a lot. He probably turns his cans a lot faster, especially this year. I'm sure he's really becoming more efficient with the cans that he has, and he can turn them around a lot faster because whatever reason he's got smaller cans, or he's got maybe more residential customers. I don't know exactly, but I'm sure he's turning them around a lot faster than you are. And some people like to sit on 30s and 40s a lot longer. It's just, again, there's no right or wrong. I think that, whatever works for you, if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, tweak it until it does.
Well, and that what you were just saying is kind of the reason we all talked about doing this, because here's 3 different paths.
Right.
All 3 of us approached it different. We all started different. Trailer. I started with the truck, single axle. And then both of y'all started your businesses based on your 15s and 20s. Well, in 25. When I just had 15s and 20s, I wasn't very busy. Now, that's another difference. I didn't do any SEO. I didn't even have a website until this year. I did everything on notebooks last year. I was very unorganized.
I believe it.
But so, I mean, we all approached that difference. But y'all had a good, Brian's still running 25s and under. You had a good couple years. Almost 3 years, right? Before you got into 30s and 40s. My business really didn't start taking off until I got 30s and 40s. So most of my business has been based around 30s and 40s. I try not to even run 15s, honestly, and 20s. I'll do them for concrete, brick, stuff like that. I just think there's too much competition with the trailer guys for me to try to run a tandem axle truck for 20. There's not as much money in it. Just because my fuel mileage is 5 miles a gallon, it's not worth running that truck if you can get 20 miles a gallon doing it.
I wish I could 20 miles a gallon.
I was going to say.
I thought y'all were talking about that at lunch. Y'all's empty mileage. No,
not that high.
Okay, because I was pretty impressed. I've never seen 6 miles a gallon in this truck. So for me to try to run the smaller dumpster, there's just not as much profit. I'd rather pass that work on. I'll take them, like I said, with dirt, concrete, brick, the heavy loads. But that, I pretty much only run 30s and 40s is what I have kind of centered my business around.
Well, your model's different than mine.
Right. And that's why it's nice to talk about this, because we have
exactly.
totally different opinions and views.
And then not only is your model different, your background's different. You had those commercial clients already. I had zero going in. So I had to find that balance between commercial versus residential. And to be honest with you, running the smaller cans, 25s and less, even though we were able to do relatively the same income or revenue for the business, it was extremely stressful for me doing it with 7 cans because I had to work a lot longer hours. I had to spend a lot more time making sure there was no full cans in my yard. Everything was dumped. I was having to change things nonstop. And so it was a lot more stressful to do it that way than it was to have the inventory and just be able to keep the cans out. So there's pros and cons to whatever way that you're going to approach things. Your business model is different from mine. It's working for you, so have at it.
So I'm trying to think. My last time I looked at the report, I think my average ticket price was like $7.52 per can this year.
See, mine was significantly lower.
Right, so you would have run twice the cans to hit the same numbers. Right?
Exactly. So did I utilize my cans and make them as efficient as possible? Yes, but there was some costs that came along with that as well. A lot of time away from my family, a lot more stress, having to really convince these commercial clients that it was okay to work with a company that had 25 and 27 yard dumpsters versus 30s and 40s. I had to do a lot of convincing and things along those lines to not only get the commercial clients but to keep the commercial clients.
And you got creative on how you did that.
After
you explained it to me, I'm like, all right, that was pretty slick.
Yeah,
but I mean, how you sold that, because I've had customers that even family members that are in construction that let me know when you get 40s. I'm like, well, I got 30s. Nope, 40s. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, nobody likes 40s.
No,
but I bought 40s, but I have 2 customers right now that only want 40s. They won't touch a 30. They'll wait for 4 or 5 days till I get a 40 available to bring it to them. So I don't know how you got in. I mean, you told me how, but I mean, that's impressive for you, because I know how stubborn they can be on the commercial side.
They can.
And so for you to be able to come in as one of the trailer guys and sell that, and you did a good job on your justification. I don't really know that I want you to tell everybody that, though, how you did that, because if other people start using it, I mean, I might feel it. Right now, I don't compete with y'all, but
for every one that he gets, I'm sure there's probably several that, like, let me think about it, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
There's so many people that we turned away too, that I was like, I don't want to turn away that many people. Like, where can this business be if I decided to go bigger? Not saying that's the right way either, but yeah, I mean, how much? Well, we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, but I did have to turn away quite a bit, and then what got me through that was it really irked me to say, you know what, I don't have 30s. Well, I have to have a 30. Okay, well, call Josh. I'm gonna give you Josh Roan's number. He's gonna set you up. So that's what made it at least bearable for the time. I'm not ready for 30s yet. To be honest with you, with the business model the way that I want it and where I want to go, 30s are in my future, just not right now.
And it's not for everybody either. Like, you don't have to. I mean, everybody's always thinks that 30s or bigger trucks is where they need to go, and you can make a very good living, a very good business. Look at the guy over at Keystone, 500 something cans with a truck and trailer, or trucks and trailers. But I mean, that's his plan. That's his business model. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. Nope. That's a very good business. Wish I was there.
Yes. Yeah, he's doing what, $1.5 million a year?
I mean, I would imagine, yeah, easy.
And he's done it and in fact, he doesn't even have 25s; it's 20s and less. So,
and non-standard rail,
right, right. Again,
I'm
not judging anybody. I mean, you
non-standard.
I just, again, my journey was different, right? I just wanted. I made a decision. I wanted it a certain way, and that's the way I decided to go with my business. But again, you can absolutely do it You could do it with Lone Star, probably. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could probably do it with a Lone Star. It'd probably break down on you a lot.
But that's like, I like to see it. It's funny because we do push everybody. Man, 10 times a week it gets asked on the groups. Everybody's standard rail, and of course I'm gonna say the same. But it is still funny when you have the guys like him. I believe his name was Craig. I'm trying to remember. But him and Clayton, they've done really well. Mm-hmm. I think Clayton does it to prove a point. Mm-hmm. I really think he's run with Max D to prove a point that you don't have to be standing row, which is great. But
it's working for him though.
But there's guys that took the cheap, easy to get in setup and have built very successful businesses on that. So no, you don't have to go standard rail. All of us are, but not all of our network is.
No,
not at all.
But we've all been able to help each other. That was one thing Josh did sell me on when I first was getting started. Ordering my first set of cans was do the dual hook. And that's come in handy. Well, not so much on my end yet, but it will. You almost had to save me.
Came in handy for me.
Yeah. But I've helped Josh out. And that's kind of, we have a whole nother conversation on the hook and cable deal. But even some of our guys with the Keystone trailers, Texas Pride trailers, when they get overloaded, or we had one that he was in the hospital having a baby and had a customer needed a dump and return. I've hauled everything from 12 footers to 22 footers on my truck, where the cable is nice for that availability. The hook doesn't have quite you can do 16 to 22, right? Mm-hmm. So the 14s and 12s you're out, which that's been beneficial. But if any of our guys that don't have standard rail, as much as we're willing to help, we can't. Mm-hmm. So that's the only hang up there. I'm not saying you can't make a business work with it, but you can't phone a friend unless they have the same setup.
Right.
That's the only big drawback, I guess, I'd see.
Yeah, and this is the whole reason I think business plans, we started with the business plan topic, and this is why it's important, at least for me, to have plans in place, and then not only a 3 month, 6 month, or a year plan in place, but a 3 year and a 5 year. Now, are those things going to change? Yeah, probably so. But you have a plan in place that you're headed towards a goal that you've set. Not only might not be revenue based or anything like that. It might be just, why are you in the business to begin with? Well, I want to make money. Well, why do you want to make money? Well, I want to make money so that way I don't have to worry about money later on. Well, why don't you not have to worry about making money later on? Well, it's because I want to be able to spend time with my family, things like that. Having those long-range goals, that this is my purpose of why I'm in this business, and being able to plan those things out is extremely beneficial, because your plan is going to be different than my plan. It's going to be different than Dylan's plan. But having a plan in place where you start chipping at your way to a long-term goal, it brings everything where you can structure it. And so that's why the plans are important to me. Mm-hmm. It's just being able to organize, and like I said, 30s are in my future. It's just not right now. Mm-hmm. And so that way I'm able to not have to worry about and focus on getting a dual axle truck or start ordering 30s, because that's not in my plan right now. So that way I'm not going this way. I'm able to utilize what I have and the best that I can, and start working down the road towards that plan.
Sure. And you're more focused, right? You're more
Absolutely.
focused on what, I mean, again, like, when I say I've never really sat down and written goals out, don't get me wrong. Like, I know where I want to go. Mm-hmm. And like you said earlier, like, I don't know who said it, but it does change, right? Like, there's plenty of videos out there towards the beginning of my channel where I said, I'm non-CDL and I want to stay non-CDL. I don't want to mess with DOT. I don't want to mess with all that crap because I had done so in my limo company. Also, I wanted to mention too, when I had my limo company too, though, I did kind of I broke my goals down to every week. I had three metrics that I would look at every single week. Total revenue for the week. I would look at number of reservations. And it's been so long now, I forgot what the third one was. Total revenue, number of reservations, and I think, average ticket price. Okay. And what I did was I would look at that specific week, that's Sunday through Saturday, for the last 5 years, and every week I would go ahead and update that Excel spreadsheet. And towards the end, I had like 10, 12 years by the time I started it, and I could be able to look, and data would tell me, okay, well, it's slow this week, or it's going to be slow next week.
I was about to say that's going to fluctuate just like our work does.
Yeah,
too.
it does
right.
fluctuate.
Very
big time.
seasonal.
And then sometimes you have like anomalies, right? You had like a really big event, a Taylor Swift concert,
Right.
or the one time I think the entire 16 years I was in business where the Cowboys made the playoffs, right? Maybe 2, I don't know. They're very, very rare. But my point is, like, I was able to say, okay, well, this was an anomaly. This is a different week. But for the most part, my goal, especially towards the end of the business, was, once you're in business for like 10, 15 years or whatever, it's very hard to hit like revenue goals, right? Like, to say I want to grow 20% over last year, because 20% over last year is a lot. I mean, it's not like in your first few years.
Your curve kind of starts to level out.
It starts leveling out a little bit. Yeah, you still want to grow, of
Right.
course, but you're talking about a little bit harder to get to certain revenue numbers. But that 20% was broken up into 52 weeks, right? So it made it more attainable, right? So my focus was more towards the immediate, the now. Did I make this week? Did we make our numbers? Did we not? And then, there was also bonus structures built into that.
I think that's another good point. Like you said, making unobtainable goals, or not unobtainable, but not realistic. Right. Stretching your goals. Push yourself. That's fine. I mean, for example, like my wife, I can work out just because I want to stay in decent shape. My wife has to have a goal. She wants to get back on stage. I don't think it's so much about wanting to compete again as a bodybuilder, but that keeps her focused on the diet, the working out, everything, because she has a goal. So she kind of has your same mindset there. I kind of like the Dave Ramsey deal where pay off your smallest debt first. Take the little things like that snowball.
That snowball.
Right, but don't pay attention to interest rates. Take the small one because you need those little victories. So I think it's probably important to have goals both short term, attainable, plus reach for the stars. I think that you kind of, for me personally, I would need both to stay motivated. This year, I'm going to do a business plan. You motivated me to do that. But one thing I am changing for 2025 is even for my age, I'm kind of an old guy, I guess. I'm not real good with the internet stuff, the social media. My business, I don't think I've posted anything on my Facebook page since like August. I'm just horrible about it. But I understand that the online presence is a necessity. So I've started working with Ronnie. Ronnie Knuckles is going to build my website and handle my SEO. Try to make me show up on Google, hopefully on page 1 because I'm not there right now. But so I'm going to try to catch up with you guys as far as being online and see everything I've done to this point is word of mouth and referrals, which is something decent. So with me implementing that, plus obviously you still got word of mouth and referrals, like I've set the goal for myself to double my numbers next year, nice. which I don't think is unattainable because I did this year off 1 truck. Now I've got 2, so I'll be running 2 trucks. I've got 6 more cans at Keystone I need to go pick up. Mm-hmm. So I think between twice the trucks and from what I started 24 with till starting 25, I've pretty much doubled my inventory. So I think it's completely doable.
Sure.
I'll be really impressed if I hit it. I'll be glad, but I think it is doable. So I understand kind of that reaching big, but I do want to focus more on some of the smaller victories, some of the things, just because it feels good when you hit those. I don't want to wait till next year to see where I end. I do need, each season. That's what you're talking about doing weekly. Obviously, we don't have the history. You've been in 4 years. You started 20, right?
2020, yeah.
Okay, so you're 4 years in. So you do have a little bit of track record, but add 30s and 40s changed that whole game too. But I think it would be good, like, even if you did it by quarters. Hey, the first quarter was really slow for me last year. I don't think I even... It's embarrassing. I think I was averaging like 10 a month up until like April. And then May went crazy. May, June, July. August was horrible for me, which you had said something about setting records. That was a record month for you this year, I think, was August. And I'm like, that was my worst month in the last 6. And then September did great. And October started slowing down. It was kind of hit or miss. I think I had like 2 dead weeks, 2 busy weeks. But it was really weird in August when you were talking about that's when we're in the same market essentially.
Yeah, but what's weird is like that could be literally just one customer, right? For us,
true.
It could literally be just one customer, one good sized project.
That's what it was for me.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden your numbers are skyrocket. Now I don't think August was like that. I mean, it was a combination probably for me, but all it takes is one.
When you're like, this is a great month, and I'm like, man, I've worked 2 days this week. I've been fishing. What are you doing? No, but it does kind of change. But I do think I'll probably set quarterly goals. Okay, here's what I did last year. Let's figure out what I want to beat it by. I have that extra truck now that I just got a good deal. I couldn't pass up on it. But so I do want to start planning. Probably spring I'll hire a driver to put in there full time. Well, they'll probably drive my main truck. I'll drive the backup. But follow your lead on that. Let me be part time. Let them run full time so I can go shake hands. The internet, the Google stuff's never been my thing. I use Google to find local contractors, and I write their addresses down, and I go to their offices, knock on doors, shake hands, and meet people. I don't like the emails or the phone calls. I go knock on doors. I'm still kind of old school like that, I guess, but I still want to get back to selling my business, not necessarily being in the truck all day. So that's one of my big goals for this next year.
And I think what you had to say was really important, because you brought up when you were talking about your weekly goals with the limo company, you were talking about the comparison about this week being down, or next week might be a time based on your prior years, knowing that you're going to have some downtime or to expect some downtime. This is in most the country, this is a seasonal or a semi-seasonal business. And so knowing that you're going to have downtime and have the plan to prepare for that is important. People not preparing for it's why we see so many trailers and trucks and everything going up for sale come Christmas, January, and February. They financed it. They don't have the revenue. They didn't plan for it. They don't have that 3 to 6 month cushion. And so now they're having to sell it or get repoed. So knowing that based on last year's projection or last year's numbers and the year before that, their numbers, this is what I can expect. And that way I can plan for it. See, I'm in a bad boat right now. So I had a really good year compared to 2023, but I used all that extra money to pay off everything, to be debt free except for my truck. So I made a good business decision to be debt free, but in the meantime, I didn't stack enough money away to get me through comfortably where I didn't have to worry and stress December, January, and February. So there was a consequence to that. So just having those numbers and realizing that those numbers, if you don't have them, then you're just kind of shooting from the hip. If you're not using what you've done in the past, and you're not using a plan, or you're not using these things, as far as it is for me, I don't like shooting from the hip. You're going to have to a certain extent, but I don't like just running my business just off of a whim. So that's where it could really help you and benefit you.
Yeah, I mean, data-driven decisions, right? At the end of the day, we all know summertime is busy for us. March will pick up, but that'll be a time when it's like, that's why I feel like my next big purchase will be Q1, end of Q1, beginning of Q2 next year, possibly to get into a second tandem truck based on how it's been the last several years.
Right.
But I don't know. Those are all, it's these kind of conversations though that really get you thinking, right? On how to grow. Where should I grow? Should I keep growing, or am I happy where I'm currently at, right?
So I kind of, you said you paid everything off. And that's where I said we do things totally different. That's great. I've spent $70,000 in October to get another truck and dumpsters. And everyone's like, we're going into winter. I'm like, I know, so I'm going to be ready in the spring.
Yeah.
But,
There's something to be said for that.
Right. It's just about a few months. But, I mean, work has slowed down for sure. But I do have some jobs going on. And I'm like, it'll pay the bills. But so a few people are like, you really going to buy a truck right now? I'm like, yep, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
We'll find out if it's right or wrong. I've had a business prior to this. I was very conservative in it. I just kind of went with the flow. Long story short, I put all my eggs in somebody else's basket, just followed their lead. When they sank, I went down with them. It's been a few years recovering from that. So I was gun shy to start. And I bothered Josh for a couple of years. And that's when finally he's like, man, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to. Either do it or just stop. So that's what got me started. And then I was doing it part-time. It was a side hustle. And I was complaining to him about, man, the landfill closed at 4. I get off work at 3:30. That didn't work. He's like, you're going to have to quit your job. I'm like, what? He's like, I mean, that's the only way this business is ever going to work. You got to quit your job. So I quit my job. He's got to help push me when I needed it a few times. It wasn't that quick. We had a lot of conversations about it, but I was too conservative last time. So I think that's why this time I've gone in the exact opposite, like all in, just because if I would have been like that on my other one, it would have worked. But I just kind of took it easy. I stayed timid, stayed back, and rode somebody else's coattails into the ground.
It might have worked, but where would you been? That's the whole deal.
With the other business?
No, I mean, even if you didn't go out of business, if you were really stepping back and being so conservative about trying to keep your business running and not taking those risks at times, you might have still had a business, but where would it have been? It wouldn't have been a job.
It would have been a job.
Exactly.
Right.
So there has to be that balance.
I think that's why I've done the opposite this time. That's what I'm saying. Like more trucks, more cans, more trucks, more cans. Like right. I've just kind of like really gone in really heavy and definitely taking a risk. I mean, I think to buy 3 trucks in a year is a little excessive compared to what most startup guys in our industry do. Especially I have no employees. I'm the only driver, but I got 3 trucks. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but I got a single axle, a tandem, and a tandem backup. There you go. But there's just so many different ways to approach it and different thought processes, which is why I think this is going to be a good deal. You have a successful business history. You have no business history, and I have a failed business history. So we all came into this from different areas.
Steven right there.
But you started as simple as possible and wanted to work it up. And one thing that I probably should listen to you more. I know what you say. I should probably listen better. But before I buy another truck, can I afford that on my current revenue? Before I buy more equipment, can I afford it right now if that equipment doesn't bring any more money in? I think that's a really good, if people actually pay attention to that, the guys want to go from a trailer to a truck. When do you get a truck, or when do you buy another trailer, or when do you hire a driver? I think you keep it really simple, if you can afford it right now.
Or can you afford it during the months of December, January, February versus
right.
June, July, and August?
I did not, for that peace of mind, I should have probably saved more of that for winter. I have other ways to make money. Like I can cover the bills. I'm not stressed about surviving the winter, but I'm in a different situation than other people are. So I think that's one thing that people really got to understand in this is when the summer's good, that's great. And that is what helps us grow. But they definitely, especially up north, we're in Texas, so we don't get hit like everybody else does. But that, like you said, up to 9 months is what you had recommended, right? Operating expenses.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But I mean,
6 to 9 months, yeah.
Sure. 3 at a minimum, 6 to 9 being ideal. I think everybody should focus on, kind of like you did, work with what you got, maximize that, build that nest egg, and then buy more dumpsters, then buy the truck. Because I've got a wife that still works outside of our business and makes good money, so I don't have to worry about that part. Business can support itself easy enough, but the guys that are going in trying to raise a family, stay-at-home wife, young kids, and everything else in the business, if they don't plan for winter, they're going to be in a bad spot.
Right. And that's where I would say everybody's situation is different, right? Like scared money don't make money. Everybody says that, no risk, no reward. Everybody says that. But, when we talked, your situation was specific to you. Right. So I wouldn't say the same for everybody. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be smart about it. Everybody's situation is completely different, but it's true too. Like sometimes you just have to make that leap. And there's so many people who are getting ready to get ready that other people are just passing them up because they're just sitting there getting ready to get ready. I got to wait till my business cards are done. I got to wait till my flyers are done. I want to build this website. My logo guy is taking a long time doing a logo. I hear it all the time. It's like, what are you doing? I'm 4 years in. I still don't have a business card. And that's why I ordered them. They're on the way.
I was going to say, what? I'm on my second design already.
Creative Card is actually making me they're already being shipped. But I'm 4 years in. I would do a virtual card because I hate carrying business cards. It's just a thing. But my point is that so many people just get ready, and then before they know it, the opportunity has passed, right? Either bad timing, something with family, something with job, whatever, and then it's too late. You know what I'm saying? It's the fear. All it is fear in people, right? It's a fear of something new, fear of something unknown. And I get it.
That's to be completely transparent. You know, when me, you, and Clayton had had supper, and he asked me that, and you kind of chuckled at it, which you kind of slapped me in the face too. So, but I appreciate it. It motivated me, but I'd be dishonest if I said that was solely the only reason I didn't buy any more inventory in 2024. Some of it was I came up with this deal is I want to grow my business and I want to scale my business in a financially smart way. And I hid behind starting my business in a financially smart way on putting myself out there even more and bringing on debt because I was fearful that I would bring on too much debt and my business would fail. So part of the reason that I stayed the same, a small part of the reason I stayed the same, was that fear that you're talking about. I didn't want to go out and get a loan for $50,000 and not be able to pay that and my business fail. Mm-hmm. So I have gotten over that. I have pushed myself, but that fear is what really I think hinders a lot of people. It's either a hindrance with fear, or if it's going all in too fast and not planning and having your ducks in a row and just overspending and then failing that way. Mm-hmm. There's a happy median in there. Right. And the way that looks is going to be completely different from you, me, and everybody else out there. But you need to kind of stay within those guardrails and not go too far one way or the other, or you're going to be stagnant and your business isn't going to grow, or you're going to go in and financially bankrupt yourself because you don't have the capital to pay your bills. So there has to be that happy median, but don't hide behind the fear. I did that, and I'm not doing it anymore.
So my justification on getting more dumpsters, because it's the same thing. My wife was nervous when I was placing, I think I got some in October, more in June, and more in October again. Mm-hmm. So fairly quick, I was placing orders. You did the DRS. Have you done one through like Streamline, through Nathan or anything?
Nope.
Okay. So like I did paid cash for the first order, Streamline on the second one. But that one, it was once I went over the numbers, taking out dump fees and costs. Basically, of my new dumpsters, I had to rent 3 a month to cover that payment. Mm-hmm. If I get 6 new dumpsters, between those 6, I better do at least 3 rentals a month out of 6 dumpsters. So they pay for themselves. That's what we talked about that when you had your DRS. That was when you're looking at your numbers, you can't base it off your regular numbers.
I go out and buy a boat and I want to hang out with Dylan on the lake.
Hold on.
And I'm spending, I don't know what your boat was, but my point is if I go out and get a loan for a boat just so I can hang out with Dylan on the lake, that's debt. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
If you take customers fishing, it's a write-off.
Exactly. Well, yeah, but the write-off doesn't pay my bills either. Everybody always talks about write-offs too. Write-offs are great. Yeah, they're good one time only, but it doesn't pay the bills. So that's, in my eyes, that's bad debt. There's nothing wrong with bad debt if you can afford it, right? I'm not here to point fingers and say, oh my gosh, you went out and you bought yourself a sports car. How dare you? No, like it's your money. That's your life. But my point is like, that's, to me, that's bad debt. I have bad debt. I mean, again, there's nothing. It's not. But I also have really good debt. So I have good debt that makes me money, and the good debt is what helps you grow a business without using your own money, right? It's the bank's money. I mean, bank money was good pre-COVID because it was almost free money. It was 2% or 1.5% interest rates, whatever. I'd rather spend the bank's money to help my business grow and use debt to buy assets that make me more money. And not saying the DRS loan was the best option, but it was a quick option. It cost me a little bit more. It was a little bit higher in interest and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel it. I did feel it a little bit because I did it last winter. I don't know if you remember. I did it last winter where it's like, holy crap, like, they're taking out 14% of every deposit. And while it kind of hurt for a month or two, I paid it off in under 3 months. I know that for sure. I paid it off pretty damn quick. So, which was nice. And then next, I had 10 cans that were making me, that were 100% paid off, and they're still making me money to this day. And they'll make me money for the next 10, 15 years. Right. So, good debt, bad debt. So there's nothing wrong with either one as long as you can afford them, and it's even better when you can make money off of debt. Like one more example. These trailers that I bought. Now I'm starting up another business, which is a part of American AF Dumpsters. It's American AF Trailers. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going into selling trailers. Well, instead of taking out cash is king, right? I mean, what do they call it?
It's emotional.
It's emotional. Yeah, it's very emotional. I cry with my cash all the time. But instead of going out and paying cash for it, taking cash out of a bank, I like cash flow. All right, I like having cash, but I use credit cards. I paid off all. I think I gave them around $30,000 for a whole my first batch of inventory for this trailer business. And am I scared of not paying it off? No, because I know I have an asset that I will be able to sell. Maybe I won't make that much money off of it, but at least I know I'll be able to break even, right? Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, I'll sell it and break even and at least just pay it off, whatever. But either way, at the end of the day, like, it's good debt because I'll be able to make myself some money, pay off the loan, as long as you're smart about it, right? If I go sell those trailers and then I go buy that boat and hang out with Dylan, well, then that's not the right choice, right? But I got to make sure I pay off those credit cards, and then I'm going to recycle it, buy some more, and continue to grow that way using somebody else's money.
Yep. Part of my business plan, and that it reminded me when you were talking about it, made me think of your trailers, your new venture, and then you also have your houses too, mm-hmm. the flip houses. And so I'm that way. So like my name, Rhino Solutions, I didn't do anything dumpster or waste named because I wanted to be able to diversify and offer different services. My wife keeps me in check, thank goodness, because I start, hey, we can do this. I get one phone call for porta potties. I'm like, hey, let's get porta potties in the back truck. Yeah. And she keeps me in check. But do you think when you said you don't write everything down, do you leave yourself open to expanding, like, because you did the flip houses within the last 2 years, right? You went to the tandem truck, flip houses, now trailers, and you have a bunch of stuff going on. Was that pre-planned, or was it like, hey, we should do this, and like me, within 90 days I'm doing something? So
I've always had real estate. I dabbled in real estate before the 2008 crash. I got stuck with 5 houses in 2008 when we first moved here, because nobody was selling and whatever. So that's why I stopped doing real estate for quite a while during the limo.
So I thought the last couple of years, I thought that was new.
No, I've done real estate before for a while. But a lot of it is on a whim. And I say it's on a whim, but I think about it a lot. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and I try to find ways that complement each other, things that complement each other. If it's just two completely separate businesses, that's going to be hard, because I think as human beings, we have to really focus in on, I don't know. A lot of people say diversify. I say that as well, but I also say, like, you don't give 100% if you're trying to give 100% over 10 different things, right?
Oh, for sure.
So it's really hard to diversify, over a span of 10 different businesses or 10 different ideas, and really try to focus
if
and
they're
grow
not
one.
all parallel.
If they're not, right. If they don't,
or at least
help each other out.
Complement
each other. Correct.
I mean, be like, we're really busy in the summer, so if you're going to diversify, maybe pick something that's going to really help you out in those winter months when you're down.
Right. Hopefully, and utilize equipment that you already have, mm-hmm. or I'm saying. I mean, again, that's why porta potties goes kind of hand in hand with dumpsters, right? You can kind of sell a porta potty with a dumpster. Right. You can do storage containers. You can do fencing. You can do stuff like that. But before you go and spend all that stuff, just make sure that you can afford it, and that you have the clientele is the only thing I would say. Like, don't just go out and buy equipment. Don't go and, build the baseball field or the field of dreams and hope that they will come. You know what I'm saying? You've got to try to make sure you're able to sell it before it even comes in.
Yeah. So I have a little bit of shipping container inventory. But so that was one thing I do want to add to in 25. I just got to figure out at what rate. Am I going to do just 20s like I currently have, or like you and I have talked, get a bigger trailer and run 40s as well? And so I need to be realistic, because like I said, I want to double my dumpsters, but I also want to add one more service, and then maybe 26 add fencing or something. Like that's just something to think about this next year is the growth. That's why I was wondering if the trailer deal was that have you had that plan for a while, or was that you're looking for a new looking for a new yard? Hey, this opportunity presented itself. Or I don't know if that has been like something you wanted to add for a while.
So a lot of everything that I've always done has almost always been an opportunity, right? Opportunity, a door presented, a door open, and I kind of went through it.
Okay.
How do I've struggled with how do I use my platform to A, help, and B, hopefully pay some bills, right? Because YouTube doesn't cut it. You know what I'm saying? YouTube doesn't even pay the light bill.
I mean, it just bought him a new dually, but...
Well, that's different. That's bad debt. But, so what can I do? I'm not the guy to sell an e-course or, none of that stuff. Like, how do I help, but also try to, make a living off of it too? What can I do and what can I offer? Where can I contribute in this industry more so that helps me, that also helps me and make some money, hopefully. And the idea, the opportunity presented itself to be a distributor for Cam Concept, and I decided to take that to the next level. Not only did I want to be a distributor, I've talked to Keystone for a while. Keystone didn't want to do anything with me for the most part for like 3 years. Love Keystone, don't get me wrong, but they don't do distributorships with trailers. They don't sell their trailers to wholesalers or to dealerships. They sell it all themselves,
right?
Which is they got an incredible product, and I don't blame them. So, but anyways, that opportunity opened up for me, and then I decided to take it to the next level and say, well, why not just set up an actual dealership and be able to provide specialized trailers or specialized, in the roll-off industry. Yeah, I'll do some flatbeds here and there because that's like, easy to sell, I think we'll see.
And dump trailers.
Well, the thing is you were presented an opportunity and you decided to take it. Was it calculated? Did you look into it? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But the door open and you were willing to walk through that door and not just stand at the door and say, I need this, I need to do this, I can't do it until this, which
wait for everything to align, like you said.
Which was something I struggled with. I'm getting much better at it now. You're much better at seeing the opportunity, walking through that door. I'm starting to see them. I'm getting to the door. I'm peeking around, and then I walk through. So there's the thing is you saw the chance and you took it.
But we've all failed too, though. Like
Absolutely.
I failed.
You're going to.
I have failed miserably. I mean, I've had businesses that have not worked. Before the dumpster business during COVID, we set up Discount Liquidator. We were buying pallets from Amazon, $1,000 pallets, and it was shit. I bought a $7,000 semi truck of Home Depot returns. I spent $7,000, and it was Home Depot shit. Like everything was broken, and I don't know how to fix a thing. Like if it doesn't work when I pull the trigger, like I'm talking about a chainsaw or whatever it was. I didn't know how to fix it. I'm not that guy. You guys know that. So I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. Mm-hmm. We've all struggled. But it's about getting over the fear, cutting your losses when it's time to cut your losses. Right? Don't hold on to a dead horse.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know what the saying is, but you know what I'm trying to say. And cut the losses. Close up shop if you got to close up shop. I've always said in this business, worst case scenario, what's the worst thing that can happen? You sell your equipment for what you owe. You might lose a little bit, but even if you finance it, you'll always find a buyer for this type of equipment. So you're not going to lose that much. What is the worst that you're going to have? Your pride? Get over it. Find something else that'll make you money. If this doesn't work, move on to the next. And same with employees. I mean, I've always said too, like hire quick, fire quick. You know what I'm saying? Like once you start it's the same concept as far as business. If that business is losing money and you don't see a way out, get out of it.
Yeah, Billy Cox.
Get into something else.
Yeah, I'm a follower of Billy Cox. I'm actually going to one of his business conferences next week. He was in an interview and said. They asked him, he's a multimillionaire, gone all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, now back at the top. And they asked him, if you were to lose everything right now, what would you do? How would you survive? How would that make you feel? All that. He said, I wouldn't be worried at all. Mm-hmm. He goes, I would find industry that I had a passion in, find someone that was extremely successful, imitate him, and do things as good as he does it or she does it, and then become better. He goes, I don't worry at all. I'll make a way, and I will get back to the top. And that's just it. If you fail, dust yourself off. We're going down this road this time, and we're going to find somebody. We're going to imitate them. We're going to become better, and we're going to be successful in this next venture.
Well, and that's, I mean, heck, Trump, Heath, Mike, Dave Ramsey, I mean, all these guys that have a lot of money have all gone broke and got it back. So that fear of going broke, heck, I've been homeless. I've made 6 figures, been homeless, and make 6 figures the next year. Like, you can do it. That fear of not doing it's where you get stuck.
And it's a legitimate fear. I
mean,
it is.
Like
I said, I've struggled with it a lot. It's not just a fear of losing your business, but it's a fear of not feeding your family. It's a fear of looking at yourself as a failure, all this kind of stuff. But you just got to push past it.
That's a choice. The one business I had that failed, the business failed, and that's what I've said since day one when that one didn't work out, was I learned so much. I know I could do it successful next time.
There you go.
I could start that same business again and succeed because I know why it failed. And so I'm not a failure. The business failed.
That's it.
I'm not a failure.
That's it.
I learned a lot. And honestly, it's still cheaper than going to college. Mm-hmm. I mean,
you said that right.
The
fear of missing out and the fear of missed opportunities is what motivates me more than the fear of failure.
Right.
Yes.
So it's a good attitude to have.
Anyways, guys, I think we're over an hour. I think we should probably limit it right around an hour. I think that's pretty good.
Fine.
I think that's most people's attention span, especially mine. So
We got a thumbs up.
Yeah, we got a thumbs up. So, I'm really looking forward to the roundtable. I think the next time we'll do this, we'll have maybe a couple more guys. The idea is probably going to be to bring like at least 4 regulars, right? Okay. Maybe, and then a couple guests probably every single time would be kind of cool.
In the live, you talked about the guy that with the legal experience.
Yes, we're going to be doing a one-on-one with him here.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you said if he was going to come or you were going to try to get him to. Or...
Yeah, he was actually supposed to be here today. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Cool.
But we'll talk about it. But yeah, that's the idea. Hopefully next time we sit down, we'll be in a different room with even cooler mics. Well, these mics are pretty cool.
They're pretty freaking cool.
Pretty fancy.
So as long as you can hear us, I'm happy.
Yeah, these are pretty. No, they're fancy.
I feel important.
You do. You
look important.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sound important. This was your first video, and you did it.
It was.
Great.
Well, no, he snuck me in a couple of videos.
Oh,
I don't know I'm in them until I watch them later.
Yeah. I don't ask. There's no permission slips.
I did not sign consent.
Not in American AF. There's no permission slips. If you're out in public, you're game. So, anyways, guys, any final thoughts?
No, it was a great conversation. I enjoyed listening to both of y'all.
Awesome. Make sure you like, subscribe.
Smash that notification.
North Texas Waste Solutions on Facebook, on YouTube as well.
Removal.
What did I say?
You do
Solutions. You did that in the live too. That's why I put it in there.
I don't know that you've ever said my name of my company correctly.
You call me Josh Ronan.
Do I really?
Yes, you do. What did I say? Well, North Texas Waste Solutions.
You say solutions, it's removal.
North Texas Waste Removal?
Do I really call you Josh Ronan?
Yes, you do. Ronan, Ronin. Yeah.
All right.
We'll fix it. Making a commitment today to fix North Texas Waste Removal on YouTube.
Removal.
Daggone it. Waste Solutions. I wonder where I get that. Well, Keystone
Rhino
Waste
Solutions.
That's it.
Solutions. No one cares about Rhino Solutions.
Well, I thought you were going down the line.
Name. Every time I have to say Rhino, I always have to look up the picture on YouTube just to make sure I remember I said it right. I got some hard names to remember. No, you don't. I just have a bad memory. Anyways, guys, I think we're done.
All right.
Yeah,
Sounds
look
good.
forward to the next one.
See you on the next one.
All right. Bye.